Can I shoot a shark with a gun?
And we do see here one of the things we haven't seen much today, which I'm surprised about, is Penny is being showed out here for Techie, and they're going to probably just use Penny, unless actually we'll see what they're doing on attack, but likely just use Penny for the new team up, which allows Penny to give 50 additional HP to everyone on the team rather than Rocket just giving 25. I'm surprised we haven't seen that today, as prior to every fight, until obviously if you're doing domination, you're on map 2 and you want to hold that alt charge. I understand not using it then, but on point 1, I don't see the reason to not pull it out and get that 50 additional HP.
I don't know. I guess it's because because you're using 2 characters they're gonna swap off of, so they're not gonna get the XP, right? Yeah, something crazy.
No, you won't get it for 2. True. I guess that makes sense instead of the Rocket, which would get 25 across the board.
What is that? So you get 25. You should just I don't know. I mean, they're doing it here. There you go. There you go, Chip.
Yeah, I figured, right? Yeah, I mean, you're right. I guess it is a weird trade-off there. I think still.
Oh yeah, because I guess you still have, but you still get that Rocket back, like you said. So there's no negative. Yeah, you're right. I don't know. I guess they're just lazy.
I don't know.
Like that guy don't want to sleep.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they get more alt charge or something as we see them rip off here. I don't even know if that was a Jeff bubble or what, but they're cruising. Oh, a Storm. Avery on the speed boost there. Well done.
Yeah.
To get them in that fight quickly without having to use the teleport. We see Z-Cube actually going to be on cap off the rip. And I thought it was soul taking for a second. You got Cyber there who's going to be on that Emma. So a little more of a unique composition here, but Emma's going to be on both sides. Groot from Blur. Blur does play a mean Groot as we do start off this fight, trying to get that charge up. That's your entirety of your job when you're playing Emma off the rip. You don't want to leave that shield out too long. You'll see them pull them back quickly. See right there, because if you leave that shield out, it allows your other Emma to just gain charge. When these walls are up for Groot, you're going to be doing the same thing. So it's much of it's like a chess match, Emma v Emma, of seeing who can get to that 100 charge first and then take that fight with the crystal.
Full dive comp, meanwhile, for Darkzero alongside the Mantis with the damage boost. That's what we see, I think, a little bit more. Like, it's those 2 healers. Most people don't really think you want to have a Mantis as a second one, and maybe that's why. Both Cyber and Chime fall. The healing a little bit lacking, and everybody just kind of collapses.
Yeah, Techie doing a good job there of taking that fight and then not really, they just kind of played confidently and slow. They really didn't press in too hard. They just stacked together, utilized the damage and speed boost from Avery here and won those fights. Got an early pick and then it turned into 4, right? So you gotta love what they're doing. DZ is playing a dive comp though, like you're saying. So we'll see if that changes up.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know if the Emma synergy, I mean, you get the team up and stuff too. I mean, this is a decent composition. You just have to 3-2-1 and not take too much damage because you're just going to be lacking a ton of healing with that Mantis, but you have so much damage with the damage boost. Meanwhile, oh no, just too much heals with the Invisible Woman and the Cloak and Dagger, keeping that Storm alive even through all that damage coming through from Smash.
Yeah, Smash ready to use that butterfly, but it is going to be countered out here as we do see an immediate bond, Eternal Bond here, pressing it on both sides. Ton of damage coming out. Nice tackle there. Z-Cube going to find Tap early. Avery going to take out Baser, though, and that is back and forth here. Baser actually subbing in, I believe, from the last few matches. They do a great job on support. AAD going down. Brute gonna take out Chime, and it is back and forth again, but Techie at roughly 60% this early.
60% indeed. They're trying to just capture it here and now. Avery with the Storm ultimate. Is there anything to counter it? No strategist ultimates here. So, I mean, it's surely going to run people over. No, able to get away. Is that Cloak and Dagger? Nice job evading all of that damage, but here comes Tap on the backside. Smash able to get one, though. No targets here for Tap as well on the point, but at least there's a carrying objective. Smash goes down.
Yeah, it's difficult because I like what they're doing where they're not using they're focusing on having a little more of sustained heals, correct? But the problem is they're playing a dive comp, so they want to try to do it quickly, but unfortunately these fights are just lasting too long, so you're starting to see the negative effects of having things like Mantis and Cloak only out there without a triple. Chime gonna find 2 as I say that. Smash gonna take out Blur, but even so, 90% and no alts in the side of Darkzero for this next fight.
Yeah, it's a lot of resources taken, but now they set themselves up. I think on this defensive push, or defensive hold, I should say, it's a little bit easier to kind of pick and choose where your dives are because Techie are going to group as a unit, right? Coming together, you know exactly where they're going to be at all times. So if you can force out cooldowns or as they force towards that point, maybe you can find an early strategist pick where they have no ults.
Yeah, they're going to need something here early on for sure to sway this fight, and I think they're trying to stack together. Good idea here to get onto the backline quickly. Z-Cube just trying to mark that Punisher to deal a ton of damage and find an early pick, which did happen last fight. Smash just putting some strong damage into Storm. Here comes the ultimate for Johnny. Johnny going to try to find something with a Supernova, but no, matched immediately by Eternal Bond. But look at that damage output. It is strong. It's just not going to be enough. Chime going to reset. Does get Groot ulted. Strangling Prison out. Avery going to follow up and take out Chime right after, and that could be enough here as they are holding on. Invisible Boundary pop 2. Smash try to find something. Avery and Brute going to clean up the rest, and I think that might be the swan song until we get a teleport play as Chime is switching over to Strange.
I mean, it's going to be hard. They're putting all the resources into Chime on that Human Torch, and once he goes down, I mean, all that damage boost from the Mantis is pretty much negated. Here comes Avery as well with the Stormal.
Yeah, going through the portal and just blocking off the back line is kind of genius. Dancing in and out to force the team to stay separated. Brute going to take out Chime early there, and that's going to be a problem. Numbers back in their favor. Techie still holding on to Brute's ultimate. Will they try to hold it for map 2? And here we go as we get the judgment out. Final judgment onto Emma. Diamond form potentially to reduce some of that damage here. Not going to matter. Good pick here on the back. Cap is 1 HP. Does almost escape DZ. Doing a good job. Z-Cube, excuse me. Tap finds 2 more. And wow, that is a good W there for Techie, who looked clinical on that point.
I mean, I like the idea from Darkzero. This is what I was thinking. I feel like this is the evolution, just not played that well, honestly. Like the Mantis damage boost and stuff with the Human Torch. I mean, I like the idea. It's just like I said, the execution's been rough. I mean, Chime has been doing a ton. Look, 15,000 damage, but unfortunately only 1 final blow. So they're just a little desynced right now between Z-Cube, Smash, and Chime. Cyber obviously is kind of one anchoring the point, but right now, I mean, it's been tough, right? It's been really hard to kind of figure this out. Z-Cube has been getting grabbed by Brute, and they're playing really well around this Brute and Emma Frost. They have such a tight unit with this damage boost as well, alongside the Cloak Terror Cape. So there's already a ton of damage boosting on their side to match DZ, who honestly have even less. It's just, I don't know. I mean, maybe this next round will be better because that's a tough map for Human Torch, but I just feel more confident in this sort of tight-knit unit playing around the Storm because it's easier to kind of play as a death ball compared to Darkzero, who have made it hard on themselves, you know, setting up these incredibly difficult dives with Smash, Z-Cube, and Chime.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more with you there. I think the biggest stat line to look at there, which we just glanced over, is AAD and Woofles only having only being KO'd 1 or 2 times, right? Like, if you're going full dive, like death ball like this, like you mentioned, you need to be finding that backline a lot. And if it's not happening, you know, you may need to shift something up. So they do have very much of a fully commit dive comp, and it just doesn't seem to be fully working for him. So that's a great ultimate there by Brute. It is going to be matched right back. Great wall there by Blur. Try to buy some time. Diamond form doesn't allow you to get trance, so good play there as well, as nobody's following. As Smash finds 1. Smash on the early pick. This is what they need to see in these fights. As Avery goes down, they're going to collapse. Great ult there by Blur with the Strangling Prison, and they're going to follow up for 2 more. And now it looks like they will hold on. As Techie is turning this around again. It's so back and forth, and that's another pick on a Cyber from Tap, and they are going to take this point early as Darkzero held on for 15%.
Yeah, I just feel like it's not working right now for Darkzero. Z-Cube staggered as well. It's kind of brutal. It just really is. I mean, Techie playing together. Look at it this way. They dive onto Avery like every time. It feels like there's 2 onto Avery or whoever it may be. The dive target just gets grabbed by Woofles with pushes away the target who dives. And then also they give the shield immediately to whoever gets dove. That's what we talked about with pros. Any dive target in this game can just be saved by Invisible Woman. So maybe you got to focus on her and hope that Cloak and Dagger is maybe not looking towards Invisible Woman, because guess what? She could save her team as well with that aura.
Yeah, and also that Dagger Storm bubble does a good job too. There's EQ. That's a nice pick, and that's what they needed off the rip. Great focus there. Smash going to follow up now on Avery, and there's Chime onto Brute, and that's a great team just sweep right there, all on the right target at the right time. Down goes another, and they are going to take this point back. 44% is not a massive take there for Techie, so Darkzero already being at 20 is a pretty good start here, and this could go back in their favor.
Well, this is what I was talking about. You got to focus Woofles, because Woofles has that invisible shield. She cannot use it on herself. She needs somebody to be near her. And the Cloak and Dagger maybe could save her, but if it's too little too late like that instance, then you're set up well. But right now, Darkzero, lucky that Smash wasn't found in the previous fight. Hidden. Portal play now coming through from Techie.
Yeah, those portals unlock, and it does open, up those additional strategies to turn around, but this team doing a good job in repositioning and turning this fight over onto the high side. Chime tries to get an early pick, unfortunately not able to do so. Keeping the pressure back and forth. We do see Bubble pop there. Immediately the Dagger Storm is gone. That's a good cooldown use. Tap pops that ultimate, though. Final Judgment does a pretty good job of taking out Cloak. Not able to do so. Great movement there by Cloak, which was very close to losing that, as they need to hold on. Tap doing a ton of damage to Emma. We're going to follow up, and down goes Cyber. Jabori taking out Tap and Woofles, and this is big as they are back and forth. Smash trying to deal a ton of damage to Groot. Just gonna hold it. Here comes the cap shuffle. A dance I've seen for a long time, just trying to maintain this point. The problem is the point is not there, so it's almost worth resetting if you're not able to get anything. Smash gets one though, as they do take it on to Avery. Blur falls 2 from Baser, and that is good play, but Tap's gonna try to teleport them back in to retake.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna stall up to 99 probably. Tap gets slept. so much damage as well. So everybody coming into this point, just damage boost onto pretty much everybody here. Nobody else can take the portal, and that cooldown is now gone. I love this. Darkzero looking a little bit better, but look how much percentage they've given up already. 87%. It's so easy for Techie to play this game. Everything has to go right for Darkzero. And I think that this composition is good. It's just going to be very hard to consistently play it as we have another little boy thrown on a rock.
That's awesome. I mean, I gotta tell you, I see the vision of what Darkzero's trying to do. It's just very difficult right now with how Techie is playing. Very slow. They're playing patiently, and it's working out for them. Just hold on to this point as long as possible. Darkzero now at 70 though, and it could be anyone's game. So holding this point here. Ultimate up for Cyber. Ready? Chime. Ooh, very low, as we are gonna only have one, and there it is gonna be matched. Brute gonna launch out, and ults could be coming in the favor of Techie here with a double strat ult shortly. There's Brute using that ult, getting one to start walking Chime. That's a great tackle. Not able to get the finish just yet, though. Good idea. And we are going to see it back and forth. Darkzero putting some serious damage on. Great work here by Smash, trying to deal some damage out. They are going to reset as a team. Battling over that health pack may be a little difficult, and the point gets taken back by Techie, who then sweep. Unfortunate.
Yeah, this one's looking kind of Jover. I mean, maybe they could have a portal play from Cyber, who's switching to that character, but everybody, Smash goes down. Okay. He got some delay from Human Torch. Portal going to come through. He can portal on the other side, so as long as he sustains and just kind of lives, but it's going to be a hard fight now for Darkzero. Last second do have an ultimate to sustain.
And they do get in there, and they do use the Eternal Bond, and that could be enough to buy them a full other fight. We got to see all charge. It's going to be pretty even. Q's are pop for everyone, but Tap. Great shots there to get two. Avery going to find Z-Cube, and that's likely going to do it. And further map one. Yep, just like that. Techie, really well played.
It just feels so much easier to play this composition. I mean, you just had the Storm, you had the damage boost, and you just kind of click things, right? It just seems to kind of work out. As, you know, like you saw, Shib, they came back through with that Eternal Bond, but the damage boost from the Storm, from the Terror Cape, the amplification, it's just hard to deal with. And, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I like the idea. Just, it's hard. I think it's a little maybe too far ahead of the game.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I saw the idea. It got some value, but I do think with this damage boost comp that you're kind of referencing, doing things like Terror Glow with the Storm, right? The Storm damage boost, your raw damage you're putting out there, even with Tap over there on the Punisher Shoddy, finding, you know, instant one-shots just with this raw boost of damage on everyone that's diving. The entirety of the team has final hits. If you look, almost everyone roughly even on the strat line and the duelist line. So the thing about Invis is you actually can take Invis out in all more, or like relatively more easily in comparison to something like Luna Snow, right? Like you can find value with Emma. Emma's going to trance something along the line of Invis, find some value there. And so you're keeping the Emma. Maybe there's a conversation to say it's a little easier now to take out that Invis, but even so, I think Invis is in such a good state. Can deal a ton of raw damage too, which we're seeing here from these players at this level. Every single Invis that's getting MVP is dealing like 14k damage per round, which is just obscene. It's Loki numbers. So really a strong hero.
Yeah, a strong hero indeed, and I guess the way they're looking at it is we're playing on Aegisopath, and you saw, Shib, in the last one how much, or in the last series I should say, how much a Punisher could do. So getting rid of that character makes sense for this map since it's more straightforward than like a Domination. Punisher maybe not having the easiest time on the map, but after the buffs, it seems like he just has a good time everywhere.
Yeah, Punisher is, I think Punisher is a very balanced meta hero where you can really, you know, he's got a big body, right? So he is counterable by things like Psylocke and getting fast enough and able to put out the damage, but him having that additional HP puts him in a very strong spot alongside of the reduced spread of his ammo, of his weapons. So he's just in a great space right now. It's really about keeping him up while he's using that ultimate, and we are going to see some strong damage start here from Chime on the high side of Darkzero, putting out a ton of damage, but they do seem a little uncontested pushing this thing up to the corner.
Yeah, they're just playing full range Smash. That's why they broke that middle pillar to set that Smash up for the back of the map, force their flyers into an undesirable position. Avery gets shielded though, and just kind of can take this duel and get so much poke, but still alive, playing with his cloak and dagger so well right now, and Darkzero has to give up all this space. This goat, these two goats, already at the very end.
Yeah, I mean, great focus there on Iron Man in the sky. Just that reset. He was getting hard focused, and this strategist said, nah, not today. Great ultimate here by AAD. Avery going to find one on Chime, and that could be enough. Oh, and there's that blind. So well played. Great positioning by AAD here. Smash going to take out Woofles to try to turn around, but it's just not going to be enough to touch here as they shove through point one very much uncontested.
I mean, cooldown management, right? They walk up. Once Avery's out of cover, it gets bubbled by Brute. Then once the bubble's out, it's saved by Ad and those daggers, right? In the in the Dagger Storm. So really just using those cooldowns perfectly, just playing within those abilities. And unfortunately, for as good as Hela like seemingly is this patch, it feels like the sustain and the overall like cover is far too much to deal with for Flyers. And Iron Man specifically, I mean, he's like kind of like not hard meta, he's sort of on the edge of the meta as well. So it's cool to see him do well.
Yeah, we've seen Iron Man in this tournament a few times. I think Iron Man's in a strong position. He's also one of those Flyers that has a good amount of movement and can escape, but that additional health on his E has been a massive change for him. It helps, you know, him sustain a little more into things like, you know, say the Spider-Man that gives you trouble in ladder, or even the Hela now, just being able to press that E and try to duke it out prior to getting picked. It just gives him more sustain, and it does help a lot, but we are going to see the pressure and the space taken. This just goes to show you, look at this space by Blur. Throwing a wall out, and that's a great ultimate here. I'm not going to lie. Really well done here by Cyber, trying to pull a lot of people in. They're going to try to match that up in the sky. We go through. Looking for the, downtown meteor. No, not sure what stuff that. Could have been an invis shield. Not quite sure. Up in the sky again. Got us a death, dealing a ton of damage, but still not going to be enough to push that through. But what I was getting at is these walls, they almost seem uncontested. It's very difficult to press through walls without something like a Punisher, especially when your main source of damage is going to be by a flyer up in the sky, and Chime's main focus is on that backline.
Yeah, I mean, they're heavily reliant on Smash right now. Chime, like you said, he needs to set up those fences, the firewalls, kind of making sure Techie doesn't walk in, but they did use that Luna Snow dance floor previously. At least they'll have another ultimate in the side of Ad, but they're going to walk up aggressively with that bubble. Him first, Brute finds Z-Cube already.
Okay, and here comes the next fight. Brute finding one. Here goes the South Dance of the Butterfly. Not able to make anything happen just yet. Techie looking really good together again. Their play is strong, and there is an Eternal Bond out, shoving them right through that invisible boundary, keeping the pressure on. There goes the Terran. Kate finds one as Baser goes down. Wow, and I'm seeing a ton of value by Cloak here, who maybe had been taking his backseat in the last few metas, is right back to the top here, where the Vans are looking like this, looking very clean on the battlefield as we do have this Pulse Cannon ready. Will it find value? A lot of Iron Man are playing low to the ground, so there's not a lot of time to react to it with a shield.
They're trying to kind of set that up, but at the moment, not really able to find much. I mean, you have that ready to go, like you said, maybe waiting for a Shredder's ultimate to come alongside it, but Z-Cube, maybe he'll be there to deflect it. Here comes Blur, by the way, back from spawn with the portal.
Darkzero does have Jabori's ult ready, and that's going to be it, as Woofles is going to launch that dance floor out early. Avery ready to counter, and here it goes. Will the shield be able to protect that Eternal Bond? Oh, it did not protect it, as Avery finds that pick early, and that is massive for Techie on this push as two go down. We lose another. Smash goes down. Ad is popping here on the Cloak. Just raw damage here, and they are going to keep pressing forward through point two.
Yeah, so the strategy there, I mean, he doesn't want to use Iron Man ult, obviously. You saw, like, in the previous part, like, why is he not pressing Iron Man ult? Why is he not going for the quantum pulse, for the maximum pulse? It's because he's waiting for the Fate of the Worlds. He's waiting for that or the Cloak and Dagger Eternal Bonds, right? One of those sustained ultimates alongside his Magneto bubble to be able to get a free ultimate off, and it resulted in them finding Gibbery. So that strategist ultimate is totally removed because of them being patient, waiting for the dance floor, playing around Avery, or Avery rather, playing around Woofles, just one-to-one together. You see a lot of these tag teams. This game at the highest level is all about playing together as a unit, not for individual plays, but to set up each other like we just saw.
Yeah, and Techie banning out Magneto makes those Eternal Bonds so much more difficult to protect. So they do go to the thing to help get that damage reduction, which also can counter out that maximum pulse. It does give you enough reduction at full health to be able to hold on, and that's what I think their goal is here, to not allow Iron Man to just have free Qs onto Jabori every single ult. And here we go in the sky. Oh, what a throw. But I believe either with damage reduced or it just wasn't enough, as Tap finds three. Tap with an incredible dance of the Butterfly there, shoving him into the spawn door. Tap trying to find another. Will that happen? Shoving him. You can actually deal damage through here. A lot of people think that they're getting healed through this door, and as I'm saying that, Tap gets a pick on Chime, and that is a giant pick there, shoving him into point three, and ooh, ZQ not able to touch, and that could be it. The swan song is no. The Pulse Cannon again does not get value, but good idea.
Can you move faster with one of the Eternal Bond dashes as well, regardless? Gibbery goes down. Here comes the Invisible Boundary just to stand a little bit longer. But again, it's Eternal Bond on the other side. Techie also don't have any ultimates, so they need really good target focus right here.
Yeah, I mean, you're seeing the power of Iron Man in a comp like this with these bans. It's just having some struggles finding him as he's picking off everyone with that right click. Woofles on Cyber as well, and they are going to take this with 2 minutes and 5 on the clock. You gotta say, I will say, in ladder, a lot of the time you get rolled on this map, a light turns on in your head, and for some reason you can shove it right back, and I'm hoping to see that to push this thing into OT.
I mean, that was there. You didn't even need the match. Dude, this is brutal. This is brutal, man. I mean, tekixd looking to close it out. Dominated versus assigned roster in this loser brackets. Darkzero, they need to do something. They're just going to keep trying to run cap 24/7, I suppose. I mean, I don't know if that's the vibe. I don't know if that's the play. To be honest, Chibskis, I don't know. And by the way, yeah, so like that second dash, is it the second or third dash in the Eternal Bond that's like quick or something? There's like a strategy to avoid, you know, these one shots like Meteor M, Maximum Pulse. Or neither of us are Cloak and Dagger mains.
Yeah, I was going to say, as a Vanguard main, honestly, I'm not sure. All I know is they did reduce the time.
As a Vanguard, like, me play Emma Frost. Me grab enemy team.
And I don't play a lot of Mag. I do like Mag. I just, you know, I'm cheeks with Mag, if I'm being honest. But anyway, Mag is, Mag finds more difficulty in landing those ults, especially due to the fact that there was a recent change. Well, not as much recent anymore as I think it was season 1.5, where Cloak and Dagger had a reduced time in between each dash, no matter what, despite which dash it is. So it does make it more difficult to find value, even with Iron Man, as we saw the missed Iron Man out there, too, just due to the raw understanding. I mean, and you'll see great Cloak and Daggers players like these, like Jabori here.
Dodge,
yeah, still finding a way around it. So
3, 2, 1.
There's a lot of gameplay around it. Okay, wait, we got some cheese. Okay, wait, please do this the whole time. Yo, this is actually kind of crazy though. The Mantis, Black Widow, I know we always see this. There's like a cheese thing. If they ran it, oh no, they're off the Mantis. Okay, they're gonna swap off this. No.
Not a bad idea.
They need to do something. They need to do something at this point, man. Like they're so far behind tekixd right now.
Yeah, I think it was a good idea. I think you got to kind of think outside of the box here. I do mention that a lot of the time you find that these teams turn on the afterburners when they're in trouble like this. So we'll see if they're able to kick it up here as we start this first fight. Z-Cube off in the off angle, already taking a fair amount of damage. We lost Jabori early there. Brute, nice shot there to get the early KO. Oh, the bubble pocket on an Iron Man juiced out is scary as 2 more go down. Make that 3 and 4 as Smash falls as well. Wow, Techie is playing lights out right now on offense and defense as we set up again.
This is kind of brutal. Honestly, I mean, tekixd, they're playing very well around able to set. I've been so impressed with Brute. I think Brute on this Magneto has been really awesome. Also, look how they're taking ult charge. These tanks. Look, they're taunting. They're saying, come shoot me. Look, the Brute is even canceling his walls to make sure he puts his arms up in the air because they want to take damage for ad. They want to make sure they have the first Eternal Bond, which they definitely will in this upcoming fight.
And here we go with the laser up on the high side, trying to get that pick early on to Johnny. Johnny escaping there as we are still battling on point. It looks like the teams are now finally grouped and not as much off-angle play. Seems like a little bit of a switch in understanding, maybe not of the comp, but we do have Q ready for Avery. The Maximum Pulse is ready for any sort of counter, and they do not have a shield. I mean, the hope now is that you get Cap in front of it to try to deflect, but even so, man, not having the Magneto ready when you have this Cloak and Dagger makes it very difficult, especially when they have an Iron Man and a Magneto to pummel that thing down. And good juking there as Chime tries to put some damage out.
Yeah, that was some nice juking indeed, but they're waiting. Maximum Pulse available. Going to be able to match it as well with the Shredder's ultimate. We'll see what they do. I mean, Supernova committed by Chime. Doesn't find anything. I mean, they're just kind of creating space. Here comes an ultimate as well on the low ground. Avery just shoots into the wall.
They saw the rotation. I think Avery expected Cloak to move forward, and that's what you got to do as Cloak and into a comp like this. You got to play a little bit of mind games. Did work out for him. Cyber finds one there. Avery is going to find Chime after the fact. Tap on Jabori. Finding a lot of value with these ultimates. Yeah. The man on the sticks here with the controller. Smash and Cyber then turning around and getting 2 more. And Avery finding Cyber as it is a little bit back and forth. Smash getting 2 more. And that could be enough here to push them towards point 1. I do expect to see a teleport here from Blur, but we do see some forward momentum, which could be enough, as momentum is everything in this game.
Avery over to the Buck Chime as well, switching over to it. So 2 heroes we haven't seen so far in this series in particular, changing off those characters. Brute still having his Meteor M to be able to find Bazier, who only has that invisible boundary, and they also have Captain American ult to sustain.
Okay, and here we go again. The good teleport in. Team just playing slowly around point, using that portal to defend, actually, protect their backline a little bit instead of trying to play hyper aggro with it. Brute trying to put some damage into the backline. Chime kind of weak. Does get the shield up there. Wolfpool's going to pop that Q. The dance floor is out. Fate of both worlds. Turning it into damage here, trying to find a little more value as the team's playing nice and slow. Brute does have that Meteor M. Not a lot of here for Darkzero, who's slowly working up to Smash with the Dance of the Butterfly, but that's about it. Chime as well with the Kraken Impact. We haven't seen a lot of Bucky here in this tournament, but Bucky, well known for incredibly strong into frontline and things like Groot, as well as flyers with that double E now, that double ball just to pull him out of the sky. But there is the Kraken Impact. Everyone gets hit, but it is going to get countered out. Avery got to find 2 though. Kind of keep pushing forward as Darkzero going to match that right back.
I mean, this is going to be over. I mean, they'll touch the cart. Yeah. Maybe they'll have a chance, but They're finding that Lek or the cap. They're looking for him. 2 seconds. Is anybody they might just give up. What do they have somebody touching? Okay, just kidding. They haven't given up, guys. They're touching the cart. Here comes EQ.
I was a little worried about that too. I saw the cap run away. I was like, wait, that may not happen, but they did get the touch somehow. Jabori falls from Avery as well, and the Meteor M not finding too much purchase. Just kidding. Down goes Cyber. Smash. Another pick with that ult, finding a lot of value. Tap gonna take out Smash though. Brute gonna drop Baser. Chime goes down as well. Tap into Z-Cube, and that's gonna do it. tekixd looking clinical out here, unsigned.
2-0, man. Moving on in the tournament. I don't think I was expecting that. Darkzero, I think the biggest thing, especially on that map, is that you saw they had Captain American ult, and then like everybody was surprised they used it. It was so strange. Like they were not ready to go with the Captain America on the ult, so they wasted that ult. Then they had to commit a defensive boundary that played so passive. To me, this looks like a team that is not really like well practiced or like practiced together yet. There's a lot of time that they need to work together with. Like this is obviously a very good team, you know, mechanically speaking, but there's a lot of kinks they need to work out. Maybe they can do it in the next qualifier.